Hey guys, it's Skybird, and today we're taking a look at the prototype Skrall compared to the original Skrall that came out back in 2009. So this is sort of a follow-up video for my Stalkers of the Sands series, which focuses on Bara Magna, on the 2009 storyline specifically. Before we get into it, let me go ahead and say, hey, if you enjoy this content, make sure you subscribe, and if you want to take a look at the official or unofficial, I guess, since it did not get released, prototype of this model, I was able to find this just on Google by searching prototype Skrall Bionicle, so we don't run into any issues with like Disney and Marvel or whatever, right? But yeah, it is all over the place. This one specifically is from the Bionicle wiki, and I will leave that linked in the description below. But let's go ahead and take a look first at the original set, just to give you a bit of a refresher on what it looks like. It is still a gorgeous set, so I don't have too many quarrels with the fact that they changed it so much from the prototype, but I will talk about what I like about the prototype here. And this one here, being the official set, is actually really interesting because it has this sort of hunched back appearance, something that LEGO really hadn't done much of beforehand. It changes up the game a little bit and sort of makes it a fresh new build, even though it is using the Inika style format, right, of a hip piece plus an upper torso piece combined in some way. It's reminiscent in that way of 2007 with the more custom torsos that were being built for several of the Baraki sets, and so I was really happy to see it built here and used here as well. Also, the way that it is built allows for this sort of shell piece here to help reinforce that upper torso connection and to keep the neck from rotating too much. There is still a little bit of play in there, but it's a really cool design, and it's actually one of my personal favorite armor pieces from all of Bionicle. So I'm glad to see it here in black, a very usable color. But outside of that, there are a handful of changes between this and the prototype Skrall. So let's go ahead and actually take a look at that. You guys have seen enough of that one. So, with the prototype set, first off, right off the bat, I do want to mention that, yes, that is the incorrect sword. I, for some reason, have an odd number of red swords. Don't know how that happened, but with that out of the way, though, I think that he actually looks quite nice. At first glance, it is hard to tell the differences between him and the officially released set. One thing that's very clear that stands out quite immediately is the fact that he has the arm-mounted Thornax launcher. And it seems like this was a choice that LEGO made up until very close to the time of release for these sets, that they were using the Zamra launchers to launch the Thornax. That would be sort of the gimmick of 2009, right? I imagine that they probably changed it because this does not always fire perfectly. It does jam up on occasion, thanks to the fact that this is kind of a rubbery material, so it can get caught up in there a little bit. And I guess LEGO didn't want a repeat of 2007 with the squid launchers, so they opted to change it out for the Thornax launcher, which I am very thankful for. With that said, though, you can use this with the Thornax fruits, or the Thornax berries, whatever you want to call them. You can also use the Thornax launcher with Zamor spheres, as Hero Factory would teach us as well. So there is some cross compatibility there. Always nice to see ammunition used in several different types of weapons. With that said, though, the more major change for this is the torso build itself. You can see that there is a ball joint in there, and yes, it does in fact have waist articulation, which I wish they would have preserved in the final model. I have a theory as to why we didn't end up seeing it in the final model, because this actually does not use that many more pieces than the torso we would end up getting on the final model. But I think that the main reason they ended up getting rid of that torso articulation is because of the Bionicle game, if you will, the arena game, where you are basically trying to shoot your opponent with Thornax and they're trying to shoot you, right? That's already hard enough to do when the Thornax is mounted to the hand, but when they have an extra set of articulation right in the waist here and you're trying to shoot it, especially at the time when they were using this, which is much harder to shoot these Thornax with than the Thornax launcher, I imagine that that could have caused some trouble with aiming and stuff, right? And so my thought is that LEGO would have taken it out for that, but I can't be positive because that is a pretty minor gripe in my opinion. And again, with the updated Thornax launcher, I don't even think it was completely necessary. So I would have loved to have seen this torso on the official model, but thankfully you can build it for yourself, and we will be doing a breakdown build of this in the near future. With that said, though, every piece on this set and on the official, or unofficial, I guess, prototype set does exist in the proper color, with the exception of one piece. You can see on the knee there that it is actually using the column armor in what I assume is solid black. That unfortunately does not exist, but again, it's very likely that this was designed and set up for these pictures, for these poses, before the Skrall armor had been designed, so they just didn't have it yet. So obviously we would see that come back for these sets, and I would prefer, of course, to use the Skrall armor in this set here. I think it looks better, and of course it was introduced on this character, so it feels appropriate to have it here. Outside of that, I wanted to mention the proportions of the torso is also quite nice too, because it's actually a fairly long torso compared to the rest of his body, which makes him, it does a lot to make him feel a little bit more unorthodox and less like an Anika build, if that makes sense, right? Because his shoulders are so high up, and the fact that his body basically has this like forward rake to it almost, the hips rake forward, the shoulders do as well, and are more accentuated because of the use of the Paraka body at the top rather than the Anika body. It really helps to make the character look more aggressive, look strong, but look gangly, look thin and gnarled in a way, and I think it really works for this character, and especially for like that rocky kind of texture there as well. So really like the set. I think my ideal solution between these two characters is to sort of meet in the middle and find some things that I like about both, combining both. But the nice thing about the Skrall is that they are sort of a species in Bionicle, and so it's not inappropriate to build both variants of these if you want to team build, right? If you want to sort of have an army or mass the Skrall characters. And I think that the Skrall themselves are one of the stronger characters for massing. You have basically 4 helmets to choose from, with Tuma, with Skrall, with Atakis, and with Stronius. So you have plenty of different sources to go to with those, and you can get creative with those different types of masks as well. I would have loved to have seen a new helmet used on a set like the Firo and Skirmex or the Skrall Stars, something just to modify it a little bit and give us obviously more fodder for our collection. But with that out of the way, that's pretty much it for this one. So let me know your thoughts in the description, or in the comments below. In the description, you will find links to my Discord and Instagram. And I just again wanted to go ahead and mention that if you actually check out my Discord channel and the last video that I made on the Stalkers of the Sand series, you'll actually hear about a project that is going on in the background that is my Bionicle official parts variant form on the Discord server, and that is where you can document different parts that you may have in your collection that vary from the norm, from the standard. With that said though, go check out that video for more details. I will go ahead and leave it linked here, and make sure to subscribe, and again, you can check out the other links I have in the description, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Take care.